been so insanely lucky in my career. And the more I thought about that, the more I was like, yeah, Taylor, nobody has every single thing going for them as a person. You have been so blessed. Be grateful for what you have. Focus on that. Nobody gets to have it all. And then I saw Hugh Jackman in person. And I was like, oh, I guess you can't have it all, but there's none left because God gave it all to Hugh. Hugh Jackman is a perfect specimen of a human man. Seeing him in person was a religious experience. It changed me. It was like seeing the Grand Canyon. I think everyone should do it at least once before they die. He is a wonder of the world, that man. It was like seeing Niagara Falls. You can bring the whole family, you get a little wet, but it's fun. It was. Here's what happened. So about a year and a half ago, we were in New York City doing shows on tour, and we had an off night in between theater shows. So me and my buddy Dustin and his wife Melissa and a few of our other friends who are also happy went to go see The Music Man on Broadway, which was starring Hugh Jackman. Was it a good show? I don't know, but Hugh Jackman was there the whole time. They should have called the show, "We Got Hugh Jackman in a Room. Who wants to see him?" The show was great. At the end of the show, they're doing curtain calls. All the actors are taking their bows. One of the actors steps forward and goes, "You've come on a very special week, because tonight we're raising money for an amazing charity called Broadway Cares. And tonight Hugh is going to sign the pair of gloves he wore in the show. And we're going to auction them off to the highest bidder." And I looked at my friends and I was like, I mean, I have money. And they were like, "Really? This is what you're going to spend the Netflix money on, huh?" And I was like, "Well, I don't have a family. There's no one else here, and I've already had braces. If I can't have it all, I'm gonna have those gloves." Also, I just thought it would be hilarious as a bit, because everybody asks you when you get on television, they're like, "What'd you spend that money on? Did you buy a new jacket? Did you buy a new car?" And I'm like, how funny would it be if my first big TV purchase was a pair of sweaty gloves worn by Wolverine, right? It's like, what am I, a man? So dumb. So I start competing in the auction, and I'm doing pretty well, because I got nothing to lose and no one to live for. And I'm doing so well that it gets down to me and just two other bidders. It gets down to me, an older woman towards the front, and I kid you not, Jake from State Farm. That is 100% true, that detail, and I hesitate to include it because it makes the story sound like a dream I had once. It's actually in the dream, I'm trying to get Hugh Jackman's gloves, but then Jake from State Farm's there, he thinks he's gonna get them. I'm like, "Fat chance, commercial boy, those gloves are mine." Then Flo from Progressive rides in on a horse for some reason, but whoops, who's that? Tony the Tiger pops a wheelie on his motorbike, all cash offer. Can't beat Tony, that's old money. So it is now down to me, this woman, and Jake. I think what happened next was, I think Jake could tell that me and this woman needed the win more than he did. So, like a good neighbor, State Farm backs out. It is now down to me and this woman. We are ping-ponging back and forth, back and forth. I think I blacked out for a minute, because when I came to, we were at a number that I've not agreed to pay since college. So exactly like college, I'm like, oh, this is crazy. I'm not gonna finish. As they're about to say, "Once, twice, sold," to the woman in the front, Hugh Jackman steps forward, stops the auctioneer, and goes, Before we end the auction, I just have to say, I am so moved by the generosity of tonight's audience. You know, I have 2 gloves. If I were to sign both of them, would these 2 ladies match each other's bid? And he looked right at me. Now, I've never paid for sex. But I did drop $7 grand on eye contact with Hugh Jackman. Thank you for clapping. That joke was expensive. They're like, "Don't worry, it's a tax write-off." I'm like, "Don't worry, I will make sure that it is." I wish I could tell you that the whole time I was like, "It's for charity," but the truth is I completely forgot till the end. And even then I was like barely listening. I was too busy talking to the glove, like, "Hugh's fingers were inside you, what was that like?" "He's surprisingly gentle." I knew it. I love telling that story because I can always tell who grew up in church based on who starts laughing at, "You know I have too." You're like, "Oh, I read the Bible. I know when they're about to cut a baby in half."